The sound of a glass shattering on the kitchen floor pierced through the silence of the small suburban home. A little girl, no more than 7, stood frozen with wide, tear-filled eyes as a puddle of orange juice spread beneath her bare feet. She hadn't meant to spill it. She had only wanted to pour herself a glass, hoping for something sweet after finishing the stale toast her stepmother had given her that morning. But her small hands trembled, and the carton slipped. Before she could grab a towel, a sharp voice cut through the air. "Are you useless at everything, Lily?" her stepmother barked, storming toward her. "I told you not to touch anything in this kitchen without permission." The little girl's lip quivered as tears rolled down her cheeks. She clutched the edge of the counter, begging, "Please, I'm sorry. I'll clean it up. Please don't be mad. Please don't." But her stepmother, a woman whose heart had long been hardened by resentment and envy, grabbed the orange juice carton from her daughter's trembling hands and, with a cruel smile, tipped it forward. The rest of the golden liquid splashed onto the floor, soaking Lily's pajamas. "There. You want orange juice so badly. Now sit in it," she sneered, her voice laced with venom. Lily sobbed, crouching on the floor as the sticky liquid spread around her. Her small frame shook as she whispered to herself, "Mommy would never do this. Mommy would never," but her mother was gone, taken from her by illness 2 years earlier, leaving her in the care of a father who worked long hours and a stepmother who seemed to despise her very existence. What no one expected was that this very moment, this cruel act in a small kitchen, would change everything. Because at that exact time, a man walked through the front door, his voice booming with authority. "What on earth is going on here?" The stepmother froze. Lily's sobs echoed through the room as she turned to see a tall, well-dressed man with piercing eyes standing in the doorway. He wasn't family. He wasn't even a neighbor. He was a millionaire, a man known in town for his towering business empire, but also whispered about for his mysterious ways and rare appearances. His name was Charles Donovan. Charles had been visiting Lily's father earlier that week regarding a business deal. When Lily's father confessed, with shame in his voice, that he worried his daughter wasn't being cared for properly while he worked, Charles couldn't shake the unease in his chest. Something about the little girl's picture sitting on that man's desk pulled at him. Against his usual cold logic, Charles had come by unannounced that morning to check for himself. And now, he stood rooted, watching the very thing he had feared, a child's innocence being crushed by cruelty. "Answer me," Charles demanded, stepping closer. His voice made the stepmother shrink back, her lips fumbling for excuses. "It was an accident," she spilled. "I don't want to hear it," Charles cut her off, his gaze shifting to the little girl crouched on the sticky floor. His hardened features softened instantly. "Sweetheart, come here." Lily hesitated, looking between her stepmother's glare and this stranger's kind, steady eyes. But something in his tone felt safe, almost familiar. She slowly rose to her feet, sticky and trembling, and shuffled toward him. Charles knelt, pulling a crisp handkerchief from his pocket to wipe her tears. "No child deserves this," he whispered, loud enough for the stepmother to hear. From that moment, everything changed. Charles Donovan wasn't just any man. He had grown up in a broken home himself, abandoned by parents who cared more about wealth than love. Though he had everything money could buy, he carried scars of loneliness, scars only a child like Lily could mirror back to him. He decided he wouldn't let history repeat itself. Not if he could help it. But stepping in wasn't easy. The stepmother fought back viciously. She accused Lily of lying, painted herself as the victim, and even threatened Charles with legal action. The battle that followed stretched over weeks. Charles discovered Lily's father was torn. He loved his daughter but felt trapped, believing his wife when she said Lily was difficult. The men worked from dawn to midnight, rarely home to see the truth. Guilt weighed heavily on him, but so did fear of facing reality. Charles made it his mission to prove the truth. He visited often, sometimes unannounced, each time catching glimpses of how the stepmother belittled, starved, and isolated the little girl. He gathered witnesses, neighbors who had seen Lily standing outside in the cold without a jacket, teachers who noticed her withdrawn behavior, even a grocery clerk who once saw the stepmother yank her by the arm hard enough to leave marks. Piece by piece, Charles built the case. Meanwhile, he became Lily's silent guardian. He brought her warm meals when he visited, told her stories of his own childhood struggles, and reminded her, "You are stronger than you know, Lily." And you are worthy of love. Slowly, the girl who once sobbed over spilled orange juice began to smile again. The fight escalated to the courtroom. The stepmother arrived with crocodile tears, dressed in her best clothes, clutching her husband's arm as though she were the perfect wife. But Charles stood tall, presenting the evidence with precision. Most powerful of all, he asked Lily to speak. The courtroom went silent as the little girl, voice trembling but clear, said, "I just want to feel safe. I just want someone to love me like my mommy used to." Her words broke through every lie, cutting straight to the hearts of the jury. Even her father wept, realizing the blindness of his neglect. In the end, custody shifted. The stepmother was ordered to leave, and Lily's father, devastated by his failure, vowed to rebuild his bond with his daughter. Charles, though not legally required, promised to stay close, to mentor the father, and to always look out for Lily like she was his own. Years passed. Lily grew into a strong, confident young woman. She never forgot the day someone had burst into her kitchen, yelled at the cruelty she endured, and reminded her that her life was worth protecting. Charles became her godfather figure, attending her school recitals, cheering her on at graduations, and one day, standing proudly in the front row when she delivered a speech about resilience and kindness. Sometimes, Lily told the audience, heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they just walk through the door at the right moment and yell loud enough for the world to finally listen. Her story became one of hope, of survival, and of the power of kindness to change the course of a life forever. And as for Charles Donovan, the millionaire who once thought money was everything, learned the greatest wealth of all came from giving love where it was needed most. If you were moved by Lily's story, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you believe one act of kindness can truly change a life? Share your thoughts in the comments, I read each one. And if you want more inspiring stories that remind us of the power of compassion, make sure to like, subscribe, and join the family here on Be Kind Always. Because sometimes, the world doesn't need more noise, it just needs more kindness.